comes on and has a rockin' ukulele solo. This wasn't a catchphrase now, it's gonna be after this. Seasonal felicitations! And he sings.
It also gives him that like anime pervert energy, when the screen or the lenses. Yeah.
Seasonal felicitations, ladies. Season's felicitations,
I
tomatoes.
will cut your head off.
Welcome to Talking to Tomatoes.
Oh, chat.
Ho ho ho. Ho ho ho, chat. How's it going? This is a podcast where we analyze the fundamentalist children's media we grew up with. And this is, of course, the season of the Christmas special. And so today we're doing the Adventures in Odyssey animated special, Electric Christmas. And we're, I have to say, probably the least, like, religiously Christmas special I've ever seen.
Oh, I was shocked. I mean, I literally expected them to front load it with some, like, or even I kind of thought because Dylan was being a little cranky that he would be like, none of these people know what the reason of the Christmas is, and then he like loses the plot in the competition. But no, they just literal. I think at the very, very end. I mean, they're doing a nativity, but they're not even talking about it near
Yeah,
the end until like at the
thing,
very, very end. The sister goes, "Yeah, he
God,
sent us
something
his
about
son." Blah
God.
blah blah blah.
Yeah, things that were not, the words that were not used in this entire special. Jesus, Bible, church. Literally at the very end, when the little girl stands up, I'm like, oh, and here's where she like says the Mark
The
version
Charlie
of
Brown
the
thing. The
and and angels appeared, sort of a thing. It's like, oh right, the whole thing this special has been moving towards, it hasn't, now it's like, oh God, we need to, even giving him too much credit. We're like, even they are losing focus. You, the viewer, who the outside perspective, have lost the point of this whole thing, getting caught up in the shenanigans that happen.
yeah.
But so I don't know, do we talk about the animation? It's kind I mean, it's bad, it's not good, but I don't know, it's not exactly, like, the one thing I will say about it is it's hard for me to decide, because I so dislike Focus on the Family as an organization, is like,
Yeah.
what is an homage and what is is just them ripping off, or trying to sort of slide themselves.
If it was a property we liked, we'd probably be like, they slid a Christmas Story joke in by that kid having that literal hat that no one has worn since 1958.
I was gonna say, so the bad kid, the nemesis in this movie, is dressed like Scut Farkus from A Christmas Story. The dog at the end, when he's dressed up like a reindeer, literally has the curved the backwards curved antler. He has two of them, but like from How the Grinch
From
Stole
the Grinch.
Christmas. I feel like The Christmas Story was kind of the most ripped off thing, because it's like, oh, you've got that Christmas lights shorting out and knocking out power and all of this,
And knocking out power, you have Scott Farkas, you have the hyper focus on one specific toy.
not just the hyper focus on the toy, but like the memorized ad copy with all titanium frame and front loaded blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
this
blah, blah.
child bike is made from titanium. Definitely,
The
definitely.
Yeah, they made an entire bike out of titanium for this child. Not the flashback, the fantasy that he has about using it's, instead of shooting all of the using the BB gun to shoot the criminals, it's him doing a Evel Knievel stunt. There's so many ways in which this, I mean, even that rich old lady, she looks like the evil stepmother from Cinderella, from like the Disney Cinderella.
Cruella de Vil meets evil stepmother for sure.
Yeah, but
Ooh,
I mean,
damn hat. All I want for Christmas is some headphones that will stay on my head.
yeah, the animation is very funny to me, because I mean, I don't really know how animation is like made or something, but it's like I felt like the animation got worse as it went along, because there was
Yeah.
I meant to go back and like time it, but when so there's shenanigans that happen, and then the little girl starts singing Silent Night, and everyone's like,
Do you mean that
whoa,
long
like,
scene where these parents were sitting there just like shifting, and it was like, what is happening?
or and during that one there's this extreme close up of the little boy's face, and he's just this weird little, like, his head moves, and then his head freezes, and then he blinks and his head moves, and it goes on for like 15 or 20 seconds of solid just that, and it's so it's
What
like,
if they
were
had
they
like
run
21 minutes of footage, but they wanted to fill it out for 28 or something, and they're just like stretching it.
somebody looked at the script and it says, Jesse sings Silent Night, and they're like, yeah, okay, so then they animated like 5 seconds because it was like one line in the page, and they're like, oh, but it's like a full
Yeah,
verse of the
she
song.
sings all of Silent Night, which is an upbeat and notoriously chill song.
Song that no choir ever has had to say, hey, we gotta keep the pace, or it's gonna
Speed this bullshit up. We all have places to be.
anyway. Let's talk about the actual plot.
One last note on on the animation was just the single person of color was the child of of somebody in prison. Don't they specifically use the word prison?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that when we talk about the angel tree situation, which I know of. I know the name of the organization, but I don't know if it is that very specific.
It is specifically if that is what that is, but it's it is also a Salvation Army issue. So
Of
I'm
course.
sure they're writing off your donations for their taxes. So
But
cool
yeah,
program.
we'll
We'll get to
touch
it.
on
We'll get
those
to
when
it.
we get to there. But so we open up on a snowy Odyssey, and d- Dylan, that's the boy,
Dylan's
right?
the boy. I don't remember the
Yeah,
girl. Susie?
Je- Jesse,
Jesse.
Dylan
Jesse.
and Jesse are going to go are Christmas shopping for someone, and Dylan is in full on curmudgeon, like 80-year-old
Boomer.
curmudgeon.
Yeah. One of your classic Odyssey 60-year-old and an 8-year-old's body.
Right, we've seen this before.
Someone straight up knees him in the face. One, there's this tiny little sidewalk. There's no one on it except like individual people. It's not a crowd by any stretch of the imagination. And he's like, look at all these people.
Yeah, and then I mean these kids are way too small too. I mean these are like, yeah, he gets kneed in the chest by a grown up walking past, who doesn't have it, doesn't stop and say sorry because he's so busy trying to buy presents or whatever, which means these kids are like 2.5 feet tall, and where are their parents? You're too small.
They're
But
busy getting having their noses look like fucking eclairs. Drove me absolutely nuts. It looked like a poorly formed sausage on the dad's face. I'm like, why does he have a beak?
he has a seam. Yeah, the dad's nose is very is I mean, it's a cartoon style that like you've seen before, and everyone has sort of hot dog looking noses, but his specifically has like a seam running down the side of it. Like,
And they're
yeah,
always like depending on the angle, like they're like tracking the same. It's not just like this fixed line. It's like when he's like coming down the stairs, the seam is like at the top of the. It's very ugly and
it's
very distracting.
very ugly, very distracting. And so the kids are going to look at something they want to buy their dad, so that he can shave around his weird eclair nose. And while they're at this random general store kind of feeling
With
place,
no lights on the inside.
no lights, that sells electric shavers and children's toys in the same window display, they see the toy, the bike, the XR7 Speedster, and then not Jimmy, Dylan, is pressing his nose up against the glass and like reciting has the commercial memorized about all the details of it, and then imagines himself doing an Evil Knievel stunt, which I actually found it very funny, where he's like getting ready to he's jumping over a dangerous sleigh with razor sharp antlers on the reindeer, and he's like revving the
Revving his bike.
and he
It was cute.
pulls it
It
up
was cute.
he pulls it up into a wheelie and the screech is off, and then they copy the ET thing when he's jumping over it, he's still pedaling through the air, which not that doesn't not that that again, it's a fantasy, it doesn't really matter, but it's just like, okay, yeah, we get it. You're trying to, yeah, I don't know. It's like this whole thing felt like, I don't know if they were strictly embarrassed of the fact that this, like, because I mean obviously this would be way more expensive than producing an episode of radio with everything. So like in order to, I'm just curious about what the reason behind the so cloaking of its message as a Christmas special. It the only way we get funding for that is if we don't like smack you in the face with the religious aspect of it to,
I mean,
because the
it's so
producers are
short.
like,
It's so short. I'm almost positive this was a direct to video thing. Like,
yeah,
I think all the
which
audio stuff they didn't play on regular television, which again is
no,
just confusing that they would hide the religiousness. And I mean, Dylan weirdly when he's being a curmudgeon is like, ah, these people are forgetting what Christmas is about, and doesn't even belabor the point. He's just
yeah,
like,
he
anyway,
leaves it at that. He leaves it at the real reason for the season. What is the allegedly this is a children's cartoon. Maybe if you want to have a message, you should say what your message is. But yeah, it's weird. Are they, if they're trying to appeal to a larger audience, then why was it like, just the directed to video sort of a thing? Do we know when this came out, by the way? This is a 1994 is when this comes out. It's just, yeah, again, it's so weird, the idea that this wouldn't harp on. I mean, it's like if this is something for kids, we want to see the sort of the joke, and that they make a couple times is that, despite complaining about it at the beginning, Dylan forgets the meaning of the season, because first he wants the bike, and then he gets caught up in a contest to try to win the bike because he can't, because it's been sold, and they can't
remember
afford it. But
what was the thing you were talking about those books that were designed to be discussed, where they kind of had an unsatisfying ending in order to spur on discussion? Maybe that's why things are a little vague. I mean, maybe you're sitting there watching, supposed to maybe the religious parents supposed to be sitting there watching it with their child, going, "The reason for the season is," or something like that. Maybe that's why it's so.
Jesus, yeah. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I wasn't a parent in 1994, so can't
When you
can't
don't
speak to.
trust your, you weren't an adult in 1994. They didn't trust their own propaganda enough to indoctrinate the kids. They gotta team up with the parents.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that, yeah, it's a way of roping the parents into being complicit in their pushing of the propaganda. Distracted from shopping for his dad's Christmas gift, he wants the bike. Um,
Does $50 seem really goddamn expensive for a present for your dad? For
for
these like
children,
6-year-olds in 1994?
I mean, I have a beard trimmer that I think I spent $60 on in like 2015. So yeah, that feels really
It
expensive.
just seemed 49.99 seemed like a really expensive present.
And because it is a callback later in the process of getting to this store, the two kids run into another kid who is selling candy or something to raise money for camp. He says, and Dylan is it's like, you don't know, you never know, he could be trying to scam us, just trying to make ends meet by selling candy. What a jag.
There's
They
a bizarre Scott Farkas impersonator who is surprised when he's asked to produce money to buy the bike. He's like, "I'm buying this bike," and he goes, okay, how are you paying for this?" And he goes, "Do it," and you're like,
Yeah, I thought I was gonna say I'm gonna buy to impress my rival. I'm gonna say I'm gonna buy this bike and hope he's so ashamed that he can't afford it that he runs out before the shopkeeper asks me for money.
Yeah, it
Um,
almost would have made more sense on the like if he'd walked up to him in the mirror or at the store window and been like, "Oh, don't even think about it."
yeah, because he's like threatening, like, oh, don't you even think about it. That bike's mine. And then I don't remember how layaway works, but I know it's like you put
What's
a
bizarre is for some reason I have the number that you have to put 10% down to get
I think
layaway.
that was maybe that too, which means that bike costs seven hundred and fifty
750,
dollars.
which it doesn't, but I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe
Maybe
these
it's
people
twenty
didn't
five
know.
percent. Maybe it's a third. Like that feels maybe it's half. But yeah,
I
yeah.
feel
So
because I feel like bikes that we got when we were little were like less than $200, but more than $100.
yeah, and I don't know. Maybe it was also we're just guessing at this point.
Yeah.
Different stores could have different policies. I'm
We're
sure.
assuming that this cartoon store and a 28-minute long made for video movie has is accurately depicting layaway, which is what people used to do when they were
I mean,
poor.
if
For some reason,
if it,
like I feel like layaway had a dirty connotation, like it was.
well, it's technically it's sort of a form of credit. Like, yeah, I know what I'm saying that I had that image too. That it's like, oh, if you can't, or like you didn't want something to get bought out from under you, which I guess was a bigger issue back then when it was like the store had to wait until they were out and then they like call someone and say, hey, if you got any more of those XR7s, because apparently this store has one of these
Yeah,
bikes.
which is a great
Uh,
business model.
yeah, I mean, hey, it is limited edition. They say so in the commercial, so maybe
Okay.
every store only gets one. This is weird shaming. Well, and I think part of the issue is that when the bully is like shocked at the money, the look on Dylan's face is just like, hmm, you're
Yeah.
poor, isn't it? That was
Like
the
he can fucking afford it. Like,
what do
yeah,
you
and
yeah
he's
why are you
also
mad at
dressed
him?
ratty. But I mean, you see, they live next door to each other, so it's just like, what are we doing here? What weird money flexing is going on in this scene?
And then they go to Jubilee's favorite scene in the whole thing because the family is at a some sort of like charity event, a
Winifred
charity.
delivers them drinks that have this much shit in them. They're like 1/3 full, and they're ugly. They are red and green drinks that look thick with candy canes sticking all the way out of the cup. It looks awful. It's disgusting.
And then so yeah, they have these disgusting drinks and Dylan's like, "Dad, could you for Christmas and everything?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't think we could I don't know. It's like the relationship of this whole thing this because it's not just in this, but there was that episode we listened to where there was the kid who wanted the video game, and
They made
I don't.
such a big deal about the money, and it's like kind of
Yeah,
guilting the kids for wanting something that cost money. We had the discussion then being like, was it us that like our family struggled when we were very young, and then there were many financial bad decisions made throughout our childhood that made me painfully aware of when our parents were very broke versus okay.
yeah, but it's like it's not just the, oh, here's the issue. It's like I don't know. I was gonna say something to the same effect. I don't know if this is like my internal issues of growing up pretty poor, but being like, dude, this is not the place to have the discussion. We're in the middle of all the entire community and going, well, we're kind of too poor this year to afford a big old bike for you. So, and it's like, dude, dad, like tell me that
Yeah,
at home or something. But and then of course the best part where Eugene comes on and has a rockin'
it's like a
ukulele
two and
solo.
a half minute long song where he says seasonal felicitations
Yeah, it's
so many times.
they're like, boy, if this wasn't a catchphrase now, it's gonna be after this. Seasonal felicitations, and
Stop.
he sings, and I'm annoyed at the. I don't remember if this is all. I feel like this is always the case, but like just I don't know. Eugene's hair literally comes down to
Is
here
tucked into his glasses, which
behind his glasses. It's so annoying. It's so like Eugene, just Just do that. Just
It also gives
once.
him that like anime pervert energy, when the screen or the lenses. Yeah.
Seasonal felicitations, ladies. After this, I don't know. They keep going.
Seasonal
Oh,
fellations. There it is.
fucking Jim. It's no, his name's not Jimmy, but I keep wanting to call him Dylan. He says, well, okay, so we can't afford. So we're too poor to for this to be my Christmas present. What if I pay for some of the money? Which is funny because he interrupts Eugene's song to ask his dad, and there's just these weird moments of animation where the dad is like, he's like turned away, and he's like, and Dylan's like, Dad, and the dad turns back with a look of such disdain, because and it's just like, gee, like just these weird little. It's like there's some moments where it's like they so cheaped out, and then just this moment of utter disgust as the dad is like, is this child still speaking to
Like
me?
half the time, the dad's just got like this fixed look on his face, and he's just moving around.
And yeah, and then he's like, oh, my progeny is bothering me with financial means again. After the thing, they go home, and what I think one of the funnier moments of the thing, Dylan runs into his room. He goes to his dresser, opens the bottom drawer, throws all of these like burlap, like looking like ratty clothes out of the way, pulls out a burlap sack, goes into the
With an
sack,
envelope
pulls
in it.
out an envelope, opens the envelope, and pulls out a stack of an envelope that says camp on it, which is the second time we've heard about camp, like just generic camp. I guess that maybe that was a thing in the 90s. I never went to camp. And then pulls out the money and starts counting it. And then his sister walks up and goes, "Dylan, you're sitting in the dark." And like,
Turns
wait,
on the light. That was very funny.
which was kind of just funny on its own, but it's also like, wait, was that like a Dylan, you're lost in darkness, like kind of moment? Like
I think you're reading too much.
I think I am too, but I was just like, but it's just like,
I'm also like now I'm trying to fill in the blanks. So they like animated half of this, and they go, "Wait, why is he in the dark in his own room with his? That was his room, right?"
I mean, why? Otherwise, he's taking someone else's.
Well,
Uh,
that's what I was like. That's why I initially thought he was sneaking money out of something, like he went into his parents' room, but it wasn't because he said he lay down on the bed and kind of just threw the money around him, which was a weird image.
he's like, I'm gonna use some of my camp money to help pay for the thing, and his sister's like, aren't you gonna help me pay for for the present for dad? And then she leaves, and he's like, ah, you're right. And yeah, this really weird like pull away shot through the skylight as he throws the money up in the air and like lays back on the bed like, ah. So the next thing, they're back in the store buying the Christmas present for their dad. He's like, hey, you haven't sold the bike yet, have you? And then the shopkeeper's like, oh, forgot about that, and he hangs up a sold sign on the bicycle.
Diet Scott Farkas comes in and
Eh,
threatens him.
yeah, they almost have it out right then because he apparently bought the bike. He thought he bought the bike, and then some lady who Mrs. Hardcourt, I think, was her
Hardcore
name,
sounds right.
and comes in. This like completely communicating old rich,
She looks like a yeah, like an old money Bridgerton or something.
but she bought the bike, and everyone's like, whoa, an old lady with a bike. And she hands over some posters to the shopkeep because this is his job. So see that these are displayed prominently. You know, 500 copies of this flyer
Yeah,
to
I was
hang up
like,
in his
what is
shop.
this for?
But what's happening is she is there's going to be a contest for the best decorated yard, and the prize is that special bike. And so, of course, at which point Scott Farkas and Dylan are like, whoa, time to get cracking. And they go back, and then of course it's very I guess it's a little Christmas Vacation, the National Lampoon's movie. Isn't there also a
What?
yard decorating? At least not necessarily a
I don't
contest, but
know.
there's a rivalry or something. I haven't watched that movie. I don't think I've
I'm
watched the
not a
entire movie. But yeah, so Dylan and Scott Farkas are now in an arms race with the a fun throwback to the Cold War, since it had ended by the time this came out,
It
is
had just ended.
the ever escalating. Dylan is building like Tyrannosaurus Rexes out of snow and an Elvis statue. Real timely reference there with an Elvis statue that the kids get into an argument about. In the other yard, they're in Dylan's yard. They're already like
What do
building a
kids like?
manger scene.
Dinosaurs and Elvis.
Dinosaurs and Elvis.
Yeah,
Those real
that's the
kiddie
ticket.
things. And so they get into this arms race, during which at one point Dylan goes to wit's end, is like, I need. I'm really surprised they didn't pull Eugene back into it, because they're like, we need more power. And so he borrows a bunch of lights. And the following scene, so he's like taking them home in his wagon, and he is going past the Scott Farkus's house. And there's just the most, like, I don't know why it stuck with me so much, but they're like having this snippy back and forth about, oh, well, I'm gonna win, and then Scott has this freaking tirade, this memorized tirade about like what Christmas is really about. It's like bigger and better, which is like, hey, it's a lot of like ideas for a little child to have, and the whole time he is in the most complicated but obvious way stealing lights from
Like
the
reaching
wagon.
into the thing and pulling the lights out, like in
Like,
front of Dylan.
but then there's shots where he's got like it's like he's pulling out the string of lights and he's like coiling them up, but he's doing it behind his back, despite the fact that the string of lights is going into the wagon that's sitting right in front of somebody who is looking directly at him. And it's, yes, what
And then it doesn't look like it's done anything. Like Dylan hasn't isn't short on any lights. I kind
yeah,
of expected him to like finish decorating and then it would be like
it's
bad.
too
So it's just like,
it's too short to connect or something. Or
yeah.
when he first turns on his lights, I thought it's like it's gonna light up in a way that doesn't really make any sense, but it's gonna light up the neighbor's yard. And he's like, thanks for the lights, dillweed, or something. But
Dillweed
then
would have been really funny, but that they
that would have
probably
been
consider
funny.
that a curse word.
The
Calling someone
one
named Dylan. Call your friends Dylan Dillweed.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Hey,
good.
dillweed, what's going on? So during the whole back and forth, there's this, you know, besides the fact that the dad is like, I think you're getting a little bit of this is getting a little out of control, despite the fact that there's no way that all these lights.
And Dylan keeps, or Whitaker keeps checking in to be like, "Hey, we need your present for the thing," which is fair. Like he's way too. I don't know. I hate it. I hate everything Whitaker does. So I'm like,
Yeah, I don't.
there was a moment at the very end on Christmas Eve. He calls up, and it's such a small shift, but he says, "Okay, Dylan, I'm pretty disappointed." Doesn't say I'm disappointed in you, which is
Huh.
like kind of pulling the focus away from you did something bad to I have been hurt or inconvenienced by it. And it was a really, I
That is
mean, I think
surprising.
I'm
I
just,
missed that.
and it feels very pointed because I feel like colloquially, I'm disappointed in you is the thing that you say. So it felt interesting. And because I literally heard him like, loading up that phrase and I was ready to be like, oh, now you got to feel all guilty again, which is apparently the only way you will do anything good. But
Yeah,
it was an interesting, again, pullback that I did not hate. I
yeah,
am disappointed. Like you have hurt me. Like not hurt, but is maybe a strong word. But it's just the difference between you know, because Dylan kept being like, "I'm sorry, sorry," and it's like
okay,
the thing about forgiveness is sometimes saying sorry. Like sometimes it is about more than just the act of it's not just being inconsiderate. It can actually be causing a problem that saying sorry does not actually fix.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's like obviously the whole point about this is Dylan being focused on the bike is what makes him focus on the contest, which makes him forget the reason of the season and forget to do his angel tree thing.
And forget
Oh,
and decides to not help his parents and sister with their little nativity display.
right, right. I also wanted to go back because we're talking about this at the beginning. about the whole point with the angel tree thing is when he's at the charity event is, I guess, for to raise money for this organization.
Raise money, or
Uh,
maybe they're just giving out the because like you pull something off of a tree.
yeah, and
Because
that's
we
like this is the kid you're gonna buy presents for
Yeah.
this year. And but just the way Whitaker puts some extra sauce on he's like, this is for children whose families don't have enough, or who are in prison. And there's just a little bit of a pause. It's like, whoa, wait, chill out. The kids, like, this isn't a condemnation of children whose parents have been incarcerated. Like relax. Like,
it is just like you can just give. I mean, like I'm just imagining shopping around for charities, and I'm like, ah, yes, children who need presents specifically because their parents are in prison.
so yeah, this is all stuff that he's forgetting. Scott Farkas is incorporating fireworks, and then there is this moment where Jimmy is feverishly in his workshops, like sawing lumber with a handsaw, and the dad is like, "Have you seen Scott's thing right there? It's pretty big, but not for long." And Jimmy's like, "What?" Dylan's like, "What? What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, it's supposed to warm up tomorrow," and which means like all of his snow sculptures are gonna melt and stuff. And then Dylan straight up turns to the camera and goes, "Mwah!"
Yeah,
like
he says, "Mwahaha."
yeah. It's just like, wow. If just in case you were worried if he's in fact losing the plot.
Losing focus about Christmas. Which ends up not mattering because it's like there's a scene where all the snow sculpture starts to melt, but it's all fine by the time. I don't know.
Yeah, he freezes. He shores them up, and then night comes, and I guess I don't know, they refreeze or something. But
All
um,
right.
as they're setting up, and the like judges are coming around, all these old people sitting on hay bales in the back of a pickup
I'm gonna
truck.
pick up with no back.
Yeah, with
Sit
no
open.
tailgate. To judge these things as their last act before they all die of hypothermia. Scott Farkas sneaks over because Dylan has built like a sleigh that he's gonna have them put up, and puts a firework that is as big as his head like under
It's a
it, like a
cruise missile.
it's a cruise missile that he's gonna set
An
up.
Acme ass Wile E. Coyote firework.
Exactly, and I'm just like, okay, so he's either gonna blow up,
Just do a little domestic terrorism.
do a little act of domestic terrorism, or possibly murder. It doesn't depends
Just
on how big the explosion
hey,
is. But
why not both?
so they
It's the
come
reason for the
over.
season.
Yeah, so they come over, and the judges come over, and they, I guess, are waiting for them because they turn on the lights, and they're all like, "Oh, my eyes!" The least impressive display I've ever seen. It's literally just each yard has a couple dozen strands of lights, and the lights have like the individual blinky animation kind of things, and it's just like, I mean, okay, yeah, that's a little overboard, but it's not, "Oh, my eyes, I've been blinded." And they're just like looking at that, and
We were watching a terrible, terrible Christmas movie called Decked Out. It's like a 2006 Danny DeVito, Michael Broderick, and the point is that Danny DeVito's like trashy and lives next door. And when I tell you that his entire roof is like a solid LED screen of lights by the end, that either like for some reason he wants it to be seen from space. I'm like, that's what I would have kind of expected of something
yeah,
garish.
yeah,
Honestly, like those snow sculptures are impressive. They, I guess, have nothing to do with Christmas. Elvis and T Rex have nothing to do with Christmas or 25-foot palm trees. Anyway,
yeah.
then he
There's
lights the firework and blows up both of their shits.
the firework goes off, and it's again a cruise missile. It's not just an explosion. It's like a rocket. Because
Yeah,
we never see it explode. No. Wait,
it
no, it
does.
does.
It blows
It
the
does at the end.
hell up.
Oh, and I'm gonna take a little aside to talk about that dog because now remember that dog. Like I've
Hmm.
seen. I don't know if I've seen this particular one, but I've seen this dog, and I swear to God, this dog looks evil. Like this dog has these giant. I mean, it's like a cocker spaniel looking thing
Or
with
a beagle or something.
a
But it's got
beagle.
too animated of a too like expressive of a face to look like a real dog, so it just looks like a It just looks like a evil fly.
a monstrous person on four legs. But it's got these big, like, yeah, I mean, like you see in dogs who have sort of like a different coloring on the eyebrow, but these are thick and they're pointed and they're always down. And I'm like, is this dog looks like the freaking devil? Like, what is wrong with it? And I mean, there's just annoying stuff. Like
He's
at
like
one
more
point,
animated than than most of the people, which is another thing. It's like I don't know. And he's in like three scenes, so
yeah,
it's just confusing.
and Jimmy's mean to it. Like he's sleeping on a piece of wood, and so Jimmy literally with his fist like hits it and
Yeah, he's
catapults
mean
the
to the
dog
dog. I
up
didn't like that.
to the air. And then when Scott Farkas comes by to make fun of the display, the dog walks up and is like bristling and scares it. And then Jimmy is like good dog, like pats his head like good dog for
You keep
almost
calling him
biting a
Jimmy.
child.
I
I
think
do
I
keep
keep
calling him Jimmy. So the rocket goes off and it's attached to a sleigh that Dylan is riding in, and it's like streaking around. It's knocking stuff over and it's causing things to fall over and smash about. Like, and eventually it goes like straight up in the air. I'm like, this child is going to die. Like he's going to
This child
fall
is dead.
75 feet to his bed. And the dad's like, Dylan, jump out. And eventually it comes down and he hits the deck, and then it blows up and
It
ruins it
blows up
all.
and knocks the palm trees that hit the power lines, causing everything to short out and go dark. And
Except for the kind of tucked away into the corner of Dylan's yard manger scene, where it has some lamps or something, and everybody walks over to that, and she stands up, and as we talked about earlier, she sings Silent Night, where everybody just kind of stands there and very pointedly, animatedly blinks while she sings, and we get some very time filly, yeah, like
yeah.
shift, blink, blink, shift, blink, blink.
And then the
Um,
old lady points to a corner in their yard and goes, "We have cocoa and cookies for everyone." And
oh yeah,
then
where the
walks
hell
into
did
the
that come
dark.
from?
Yeah. It's been out all evening, apparently.
So of course the nativity captures the spirit of Christmas, because that's like the whole that those are the whole dueling worldviews of the Christmas is big. It's like, no, Christmas is like intimate and about Jesus, in which we get the first usage of the word God and the only usage of the word God in the entire, not including the song. The little girl wins the bike, and she's like, who cares? Which also, going back to when the dad was like, oh, he's got a cool he's got some cool sculptures back there, but not for long. Where I thought they were going with that is like, oh no, the trashy kid next door has to move again because his parents are garbage or
Oh,
something, and be like, oh, now this is going to be Dylan's gonna win. He's gonna give the bike away, or Jesse wins and he gives the bike to Dylan, who then gives the bike to I thought it was gonna end up with the we solve this rivalry by sort of an act of generosity and kindness this Christmas season because your life is sort of hard. But instead he goes, oh, it's not too late, and because when his sister gives him the bike, he
oh,
puts
so
the
yeah,
helmet.
he wins the bike. His sister immediately gives it to him, and he's like, "Wow, prosperity gospel."
Yeah, I only did bad things, and now I have a bike. But then,
And
of course,
I will give them some props right here because I did think that he was going to be like, "Oh, nuts! I lost the meaning of Christmas, and I get rewarded anyway." Because a lot of the episodes of Odyssey seem that way. Like someone learns a lesson at literally no cost to them.
yeah, and in this case, yeah, he gets the bike and then remembers that he hadn't gotten a present for with the angel tree thing, and so he hops on the bike and rides to where Wit and Eugene have a horse-drawn carriage full of presents and are
With
riding
no,
around
were there
town.
horses? Were there actually horses, or was
There
it
was
just a
actually
sleigh? Oh, okay.
there was actually a horse, and they're there. He gets there just in time. Wit pulls out the tiniest present and goes, "Well, this is all we could get for Matt Williamson or whatever his name is." And Dylan pulls up and is like, "Wait, is it too late? No, I got this." And he takes the bike up and
Okay, let me real quick say something. I don't know if you got this. The amount of times they said Matt Williamson wants a bicycle helmet, and I kept being like, if this motherfucker walks up and hands him the helmet and keeps the bike, I'm going to lose my mind. Because I did briefly when he goes, oh, wait, a present. Oh, no, because right then he says, wait a minute, Matt Williamson wanted a bicycle helmet. Then he comes to meets Whitaker and goes, I got the present right here, and taps his helmet. And then he gets on there and he hands the helmet to the kid. And I go, no, no freaking way. I said out loud, I go, if he doesn't give the kid the bike, which he does eventually do, but it really looked like they were trying to split the difference and have him keep the bike and give the helmet away.
Yeah,
Like, here
because
you go, poor.
yeah, so he goes to the door to deliver the present, middle of the night, and a child answers the door, which is weird. But it's also the kid who from the very beginning of the episode who's trying to raise money for camp. And so yeah, he takes Dylan takes off the helmet and goes, here. And I was thinking the same thing too, because the kid makes such a big deal about, like, he's handed the helmet.
About the helmet.
Like, I actually missed the part that it said that he wanted a bike helmet, because I thought like, oh, this is like either going to shame or is like a look at the noble poors.
Oh, he's so grateful for just the bike helmet, and you focus
and he's
on
like,
the bike
and then
or
he's like,
something,
Matt,
yeah.
what are you doing? The bike obviously comes with it. And then he's like, what? I get a bike too, which, you know, again, eventually he does give the bike too, but because they drew out the degree, I was like, I'm waiting for them to like drop the sort of, not the punchline, I guess, but the oh my gosh, you thought the bike helmet was cool. Check out the bike that comes with it. And so then of course it's like, yeah, let's go home, and then that's the end of the episode. So yeah, just a very, I know we say every episode is weird, but it was such a un-Christian Christmas, not un-Christ-like, but just like, it was the most generically the reason for the season. And then someone sings one Christmas carol, and I mean, no Bible verses
religious
were read.
song. Yeah, not a single Bible verse. Your decorations are the reason for the season.
Yeah, I guess they saw the trailers for just enough Christmas movies to be like, that's what the secularists are believe. So we gotta make sure that is the downfall of everybody. Is anyway. My head is starting to get sweaty, so I think we're going to end it there. In the meantime, follow us on all the socials, or individually. I am Eric.Eberly on TikTok.
And I'm Titan of Joy with underscores, also on TikTok.
All right. Talk to you later, tomatoes.
Merry Christmas, tomatoes. And I'm Chris. Rest in piss, Dr. Dobson. I got it. It's a Christmas miracle.
Christmas miracle. Woo!